let me know when we're.
I'm good. I think we're still a minute.
Yeah, we're not.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Hey, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, Pam.
Hello.
Hi, Deborah.
They might not be able to hear
Hi.
us. Oh, they can, okay. We're gonna start in just a minute, you guys. I guess it's 4, I can start, well, I can, no, I'll wait, cause it's the pledge of allegiance.
You got me here to say yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, there's rough people, man, they don't mess around, they get busy, you got a good crew right now. Apparently, we're gonna lose some of them, cause they're just here temporary while it was raining on the coast. But
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start. Okay, everybody, calling to order this meeting of the Fraser Park Public Utility District. It's the regular state planning and project meeting for Thursday, April 25th, 2024. We are starting at 4:01 p.m. We're going to start with a pledge of allegiance to the flag. Okay, ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, and we're going to go to 1B, roll call of directors. Director Garcia, I believe is absent. Director Nyman.
Here.
Director, yeah.
Gibson.
Yes, I know that. Director Gibson. Director Gelling.
Here.
Okay, so we have 4 out of 5, so we do have a quorum. And we are going to move on to item number 2, discussion vote adjust agenda if necessary. I believe we have some possible adjustments.
We have 2 adjustments.
Okay,
Need to move number 15 to under number 5 and remove number 14 from the agenda.
do I hear a second? to
I'll second that.
Motion, okay, any discussion? All right, roll call of directors. Director Garcia is absent. Director Nyman.
Here.
Right.
Aye. Here.
I can tell it's gonna be a fun meeting.
Aye. Aye.
Okay,
Sorry.
Director Gibson.
Hi.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Okay, so that motion passes. We will adjust the agenda and that's 4 directors, 4,
Did I say I
0
was here?
against. You said you were here.
Okay.
0 against and 1, no abstentions and 1 absent. Garcia. Okay, on to public comments. Item 3, anything not listed on the agenda, we'd like to limit this to approximately 5 minutes. Thank you. Any members of the public that have a comment not on the agenda? Hearing none and seeing no public in the room, we will go on to item 4, standing committee reports, accounts payable committee.
We met, we went through invoices. We asked Deborah to cut checks and everything will be discussed in financial.
Okay, thank you. State update meeting committee.
That's you or Becky.
Next.
Oh.
Well, we'll be covering everything in,
On the audit.
no, we have all the, items on the thing today, so
Okay, so nothing to cover right now. And quarterly financial committee.
We met, we went through the financials, got through them fairly easy and, it all went well.
We don't need to meet a second time.
We didn't need to meet, yeah, we won't need to meet.
Time.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions, comments? Okay, I'm gonna move on to item 5, ad hoc committee reports, project committee.
We haven't met.
Okay, and financial committee.
We met with the budget. We have it in front of us. We hope to approve it tonight.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, then I will move on to agenda item 15 that was moved forward in the agenda.
Okay, we,
Wait, you gotta say what it is.
we bought our,
Okay,
sorry.
let me go ahead. It's, discussion vote on selling the portable generator.
okay, in, 2013, we, bought a generator for $63,750. As you know, it hasn't worked for us all this time, so I've been researching what they're selling for, and the best to relate it to is going for $28,000. We got offered, it may still be available. The generator guy that sold us our generators said somebody came in from out of town and offered us $37,500 for the generator, so I advise that we sell it if we're still able to do that.
I make a motion that we sell the generator, for $37,500.
Can you, make one amendment though, if that fails,
If that sale does fail,
then I could have authorization to sell it for down to how much? 30,000?
down to 30,000.
Because the original offer, he thought it was maybe 35 or something, but if you, I'm gonna try to get the most I can for you. Don't have to do this time.
Okay.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion?
We sell it as is, right?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
And it has to go out of state because it's not,
It's an interim tier 4, like not a final tier 4. Small.
okay, so, nothing else? Roll call of directors. Director Garcia is absent. Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
And Director Schoenberg is an aye, so that motion passes. It's 4-0-0 with 1 absent. And so Johnny has the go ahead to, or John Nyder has the go ahead to sell that generator for us. Okay, we're gonna move on to item 6, financial business, discussion vote on accounts payable and financial information. That's Deborah.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Deborah.
Okay, so out of the meter well account, we prepared 2 checks for a total of $32,736.30. The extraordinary disbursement was paying back the bridge loan of $32,227.80 that we used for progress payment 1 on Bro Construction.
Rough.
Construction. Then we prepared 4 checks out of the planning account for a total of $8,656. The extraordinary disbursements, there was a payment to D Jasper for claim 39 in the amount of $4,086.50. And a disbursement to Young Woolridge for claim 39 in the amount of $3,267.50. And then out of revenue operating, we prepared 12 checks for a total of $10,128.89, and there was 1 void. And the extraordinary disbursement out of revenue operating was to BHK, the auditor, for the amount of $5,000. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Deborah. Do we have questions, comments?
I make a motion that we pay our bills.
Do I hear
I'll
a
second it.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second, any other comments, questions? No, so we'll call it directors, Director Garcia is absent, Director Nyman.
Here I.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Again, Director Schoenberg is an aye, so we are paying our bills with no changes. And that motion passes, that is 4-0-0 with one absence. Okay, moving on to item number 7, discussion vote on the district budget. So it is here in your packet. And basically, two things happened. I don't know if the directors are aware of that. So the first thing that happened is that we realized that we had depreciation in here accidentally. That's why we were so far off. I mean, that has nothing to do with our whole discussion last time about the residential water, but we were way off because we had a depreciation figure under ordinary expense, and that's not an ordinary, that doesn't normally go there. So that was the first thing that happened. And then the second thing that we discovered Tuesday, was that we have been doing our calculations. I believe we've been doing our calculations incorrectly for our replacement fund. The revenue is correct, and I reread and I read it to people, and doesn't matter how many times I read it, it does not read in the way that we've been doing it. We've been putting in money as we should on the first of every month. The two differences are, number one, on the 16th of October, every year, we need to reassess both the revenue and the replacement. And we have some new information reading the bond book again about that, which I'll say in a minute. And then my understanding from reading it over and over and over again this time was that the revenue, the way we figure it, is that we take 1/10. We find out our annual debt service, which is our principal plus our 2 interest payments.
Not the revenue, it's the reserve.
I mean the reserve, I'm sorry, corrected. So for the reserve accounts, all of them, which there are 3 different accounts, 2 are combined. So loans 3 and 4 are combined and 6 is a separate account. We take our average annual debt service, which is our principal plus our interest payment in both October and April of the following year. And then we add that together, and that is divided, we look at 1/10 of that, and that 1/10 is then divided into 12 monthly payments, because we have to pay it every month, which we've been doing, into the reserve. You said the same thing. That's not just me. Okay, into the reserve account, and so that's all been going correctly. Then when I reread the replacements, on loan 6, we were automatically given a replacement figure, so we've never had to calculate that. That's 9,505 or something. And that automatically goes in before October 15th of every year. And we've divided that into payments just to make it easier, but that's fine. The issue is the loan 3 and 4. We've been doing it the exact same way as the revenue accounts.
No.
I mean, the reserve account, I did it again. Ooh, I'm tired. Okay, the reserve accounts, and when I read it over and over and over again, what it says is the average annual debt service, 1/10 of that placed monthly, which is considerably more than what we've been doing. We're okay, we've been doing it, I mean, we're not short. What happened is on loan 6, they just had us start paying it right away, and that one's correct. On loans 3 and 4, they had us wait until we exceeded our reserve accounts, and at the point where we exceeded it, then we needed to make a replacement account for each of those, which it's all one account that we put the money into. But we did all that correctly. And then we started placing it the same way as our reserve accounts, but it looks like. So when we did that whole capital, so many people have looked at this, the Prop 218 people, no one caught it, or audit, no one said anything, but, reading it again, because I made that whole spreadsheet, and in making the spreadsheet, and doing all these like quick, calculations and stuff through Excel, or through sheets, I realized that we needed to put in the entire 10th, so it gets times by 12 instead of divided by 12. And so that's considerably more, and what happened is that our capital improvement, really, our big chunk of money is really that replacement account, which still cannot necessarily be used for things outside of the USDA original loans and grants. However, it should be like up at probably like $1 million or something, and it's 100 and something thousand. So, so we need to, I want everyone to look at that one more time and make sure we're not crazy, in looking at that, but, I've read it to people.
Is this yours? No.
So what Deborah did is she took the figures that I did on that spreadsheet. And so not only is the budget here, but she incorporated them on the very last page, the way that Linda Sheldon used to do, but we've revised it just slightly. And it shows our less cash for principal payments and loans. So it shows our loan 3 principal, our loan 4 principal, our loan 6 principal. Those are all out of the bond book. Then it shows our reserve accounts 1, which is a combination of loans 3 and 4. And our reserve accounts 2, which is 6, and then our replacement fund, which is all 3 combined together. The other thing that I learned.
How much are we putting into the replacement fund now?
Well, we changed it once because it was too low, and, but now we need to change it again.
We were putting in $627.43
A month.
a
Well,
month,
we should actually be putting at almost
over
2,000.
2,000 a month.
Well, over 2,000, because just loan 3 is almost 2,000,
2,000,
and then
yes.
loan 4 is another 2,000 something, or 5,000. Loan 4, 5,000. So
So,
it's like 7,000 or 8,000 a month.
yes,
So that would build very quickly to a nice, healthy capital reserve. We still should keep our capital reserve, but we probably don't need to put as much money into our capital reserve because we have this other reserve for all the other stuff that exists in the USDA 3 improvements that happen. And then the other thing that I found very interesting is we are allowed to take out of, and in fact, it says we have to take out of the reserve account if it goes over. We should be taking that money and we're allowed to use it for whatever we need to use it for. And if it's under, we need to evaluate we need to evaluate monthly, but we also need to evaluate again on the 16th of October, both accounts, reserve and replacement, and make sure that the correct amounts are going in so that we're not under or over. So, but I was surprised to learn 2 things. One is that we need to take that money out if it goes over, which it has gone over in the past. And 2, that we're allowed to take out of the replacement as well. We just need to again approve that. So,
Well, we just need to, notify.
yeah, but I'm sorry, but we're allowed to take out of the reserve as well, is what I meant.
Oh.
And so if we have enough money in our operating revenue to pay our debt service, and we find that we need something out of the reserve for some reason, we're also allowed, as long as we're not, having an issue paying our debt service, we're allowed to, again, we have to ask the USDA, but that's another pool of money that we could use to fix. Possibly to fix things that are part of the USDA original projects. So, anyway, it's good to know we have stuff earmarked. We've been doing everything correctly, except that really that pool should be a lot bigger.
Was parcel B, USDA project?
Yes,
Good to know.
so if we can put extra money in, if we can put the money in the way we're supposed to be putting it in, then theoretically we may be able to cover more for parcel B. Yeah, parcel B was definitely USDA. That was, I think, the first USDA. So, so that was just interesting to find out. So that's what you see in here, and that's what those numbers are, and that's why those figures are so crazy high. We did not put in that 99,000, even though it says, Deborah, that says actual, but we didn't actually put that in. That's just what we should have put in. Right, on 22, 23, and then all
Correct.
the other 23, 24 forward are the amounts that should be going in each year. So it's about 100,000 a year, which is, you know, which banks up fairly quickly, so that's
So we're gonna put 98,000 a year in,
about, yeah, about a little under 100,000 a year.
okay, I'm a little confused because for the replacement,
Well, okay,
What?
after
Okay.
the meeting, can you look at that and read it?
cause it seems a little, why would we be putting in so much in the replacement when you're only putting on loan 6, which is a lot higher loan, you're only putting in
Because we've been
$9,000.
paying it from the very beginning, and the replacement, we didn't start paying for 10 years. So the replacement, on loans 3 and 4, did not ask us to pay immediately. It said you build up your reserve accounts, and then once your reserve accounts are built up, as long as they remain at a steady, then you have to put into the replacement. So we did all that, they're remaining where they should be. We made a replacement account, and I believe it's higher because they just gave us a number for the other one. So, and I believe that the other one's lower because we should have already been banking quite a bit of money. And because it was yet one more project, they just kind of figured, well, they've already built money in this reserve. They didn't make us do a new reserve fund for 6. They said we could lump them all together. So it's just, I think they didn't require as much because we were already building that capital improvement money through the whole thing after 10 years.
You're talking about $10,000 a month going in.
But that's what we have going into capital improvement.
Right, so what we really need to do is stop putting that money in capital improvement, leave capital improvement kind of, or put much less.
Well, we need to look at the whole scheme because we've been putting, first of all.
Well, we don't have a choice if you read it and it's correct.
I know, but I'm just saying,
Okay.
we need to look at all the accounts because we're putting 10,000 right now. We're putting 10,000 in capital improvement. We're putting in 10,000,
SLA.
and then the SLA,
Mhm.
you're putting in 5,000, and then you're putting
The.
10,000, you're putting 5 or 10,000, you're putting 10,000 into our old.
But because we aren't supposed to be touching that and that money is supposed to go back, that's just like a place that we've dipped into, but it's really not, I mean, it's okay, there's nothing wrong with dipping into it, but it should stay. It isn't our operating revenue, and our operating revenue needs to be our operating revenue and needs to be correct for what our monies are coming in since all of the USDA loan grants. So that general is before we ever took out a loan grant. So that's why we're
No, was there
replenishing it.
anything that stated it had to stay there in perpetuity?
It stays there because we're supposed to be basically the USDA owns our operating revenue. So if we go belly up, they're allowed to take all of it to pay our debt service. If we're not capable with our reserves and everything else to pay our debt service, they cannot take our general fund. So yes, we should not be touching the general fund because that's not to be messed with, and that would keep the company afloat if something happened. Well, not very long, but you know, that's the theory. So,
But you can't, like, if the general fund was at 100,000, you can't all of a sudden make it 200,000. You can't,
no, you don't.
you gotta keep it at whatever level
What it
it
was,
was
and
at.
it was at 300 something, and that's why we're putting money back into it, because we've depleted it, and really, we shouldn't be depleting it theoretically, because, I mean, we depleted it.
No, we
because
gotta go back and look at that because that was at maybe 250.
No, it was at some point, we need to go way back and look at it, because I don't think it ever got fully brought back to what it was. which it was supposed to be, but it hasn't. So, which is not a big deal. It's not like we're, anything we can get. It's just that's our safety to pay off, like, let's say this company went belly up, that's our safety to pay our employees and everything for that final stuff if we couldn't pay our debt service. So we want to keep that there because it's another safety account that's to, really earmarked for paying off something if we were to be in trouble. Hopefully that never happens, but it would pay off whatever we didn't give to the USDA to pay our debt service.
So you're gonna read that, Brown?
Not tonight.
I don't.
So that's kind of where we're at, and I don't know if you just want to glance at the numbers. The good news is that we're not like far off like we thought. The only reason why we're under at this point would be because we're putting money into an earmarked account. It's not really under, so we're not really under. Those are all monies we can expend for different things. So it's just, but they're restricted accounts. So that's why it's different now. So that's the good news, that it's not because we had depreciation in there, it was wrong. So, we're actually in pretty good shape, throughout. And, it's just the reason why we're, under on all those less cash totals is, we're not this, last year. But starting this next year, we would be, but that's all money that's going into earmarked accounts, restricted accounts.
But the elephant in the room is, where's the water, how did we lose water
Yeah,
residential?
That's
I mean,
a
there's-
separate,
I mean, maybe we need to get the auditor in here to look at
That's what I
RDS
think
or,
too.
or something, because, I mean, when you're talking about $100,000, I mean, that's why it's showing us in the red.
that's right, well,
And so there's something wrong.
but we're not really in the red. We're not, I mean, we're
I know,
in
but
the red now because we're gonna be making these much larger payments too, so that really in the red stuff that we said last meeting was incorrect because I didn't understand, I didn't realize that we had, even though I looked at it and we put numbers up for it, I somehow I didn't wrap my brain around it, that depreciation.
and when you did the sales for 23-24 and 24-25, you accounted for the
The
small,
loss, yes, the smaller one.
but the small increase though.
Now, let me
Yes.
ask,
Yeah, we,
let me ask this.
3%, yeah.
Since we haven't been paying to all the accounts we need to, can we pay less than what you're saying just until we do the standby fee?
We
Prop
can't
218?
pay less going forward, but I don't think we need to make up the amount necessarily that we
Haven't paid.
didn't pay. I mean, we'd have to ask, I guess, our attorney or
I
something.
mean, they don't even know, they didn't notify us. Say
Nope,
we-
nobody's notified. The USDA is fine with it. Everyone's seen our stuff. In fact, the USDA looked at our stuff multiple times, and that's why I got, when we asked, what's the gentleman's name, that we were trying to get the loan from the USDA and we didn't get it because we had too much
Al
money.
Coryell.
Al Coryell, we had too much money because it was all in these restricted accounts that they didn't understand. Like the other restricted accounts, and because of the way we wrote the budget. So I think it's clearer now, hopefully.
Or do you guys want to direct me to, call the auditor? Danira, I think is who's
Yeah, she might.
gonna be our full-time auditor.
I think we should do that as part of the financial ad hoc, because we need to have the correct questions and all that before we call them.
Cool.
So I think if Deborah's okay with that, I think Deborah and Terry and I should do that, but it doesn't have to happen immediately, but I do think we need to figure out why
Yeah.
that's left.
Before we start giving numbers to, on the Prop 218, it's gonna start moving along faster for the standby fee, because it'd be nice to have it figured out so you have a realistic look at our.
Right, and we're, when did we determine we probably need to do another Prop 218 in 25, 26? Is that-
Yeah, well, we need to start it in
Earlier.
24 and 25. Because the rate increase goes into effect January 25. So we need to have it ready so we can do the next rate increase as of 26. So that means we need to do the Prop 218 in 25.
Right, because
Right.
Tiffany was saying that we probably, and I don't know, Carlos can answer that or not, but that our standby fee will really help us because that's crazy that's never gone up. But by the time we get done with that, it's probably gonna be after our Prop two
Tiffany
eighteen.
says basically already is too late to file that with the county.
Yeah, so if we get the study and everything done, the new standby fee won't be in place until the November 2025, April 2026 tax year. So, because we're already filing the 24-25 tax year.
So I think if you wanna look at this budget, the most important thing, and this is a living document, which is gonna change some, but we tried to make sure it's hurt us in the past, because we haven't been as accurate as we could have been. And unfortunately, USDA, the state, like everybody goes, this is kind of gospel to them when they're looking at whether they're gonna give us a grant or loan or whatever. So we tried to make it as clear as we could and include as much as we could in a little bit easier way to read it. It's pretty much the same, but there's a couple changes, which is mostly that area, where we put in the reserves and the other.
Well, because going through the budget, I was concerned that there was nothing in the budget saying that we had to pay these bonds back. I mean, these loans, I mean, they're an expense. And Deborah has very politely and told me that they're not an expense, they're a liability. And a liability and an expense are not the same. And so I was like, but we still owe this money and we still have to budget for it. And so this is how we're budgeting for it.
I do have one question, and I think it's something we need to bring up also with the auditor or somebody as to, we still have other income expense, 54090 depreciation expense. We didn't put in any numbers for that, and I think that we might wanna find out if that needs to be on here or not, because it's not. I mean, yes, stuff is depreciating, but it's pulling from our assets and not our normal income expense. So I think that's why we left, Deborah left it and we left it at 0, and that's what was throwing everything off before, but I don't know if that's something we can just remove. It's misleading, I think, to just have a line, have nothing there. Do you know, Deborah?
Well, depreciation isn't an actual tangible dollar amount. It's not it's not a dollar amount that comes out of a bank account. It's a depreciation of your assets. So it's lowering the value of the assets, and it's not having an effect on your operating.
Right, so I'm wondering if we can, off of this budget, when we approve it, if we can pull off other income and expense. Because there's nothing in it anyway, and I think it's confusing. So if we can leave that off, if that's a legitimate thing to leave off, since it's not theoretically affecting our income, our normal income or expense, I think that would be better than leaving it the way it is right now.
Yeah, I think it should be taken off.
And I think if we pass the budget, we may want to pass it with that sort of amendment of if that's legitimate to take off, that we take it off.
Well, thank you guys for doing all this work. Looks good.
And just so you know, and I haven't carried it all the way through, but I've carried it through to 20.
We went to the 27, 20, well, we've got, but we haven't finished.
Right,
The
but
28
20,
through 30.
well, no, it's finished up till 29, 30. So the only thing it doesn't have is the 31 April.
But I think what we should be providing for this budget, we approve the budget, but when we provide the numbers, we only provide the 3 years, 23, 24, 20.
No, I thought they're asking for 5 years.
No, they asked for 3
They're
years.
asking for a
Carlos?
3-year.
3 years, but preferably 5. So if you have the 5, that's better.
We have, yeah.
Okay.
That's why we.
I think it's easier on us too, if we just go with the 5 and have it on our, even though we found some mistakes on the previous budget, but it still makes it a little bit easier than if we're a little late like we are this time, that at least we have something up there that's close.
Okay. Well, I make a motion that we approve the proposed operating 5-year budget. With, and that we, delete off of the last page, the, depreciation expense,
As long as
Other-
we do,
other income.
as long as that's a legitimate thing to do.
Well, she said it was legitimate.
Well,
There was,
Somehow the auditors keep putting it in, and that's why we needed to find out from them.
I think it's
It was
fine on the budget.
removed, it was removed from ordinary expense into other expense and zeroed out because it is not affecting your operating budget. And that's the format that you've used prior to putting together this
I think
budget.
we just, the motion on the floor, and it's not seconded yet, but I think we just need to make sure that it's okay to completely pull it off rather than zero it.
How come?
Because it's-
Since that's always been the
Because
format,
we have to, no, that's just because it's always been the format, we found a lot of stuff that
that's
was
why I was
wrong.
asking.
Yeah, so.
but if
always
it's not
good,
affecting, if it's not affecting the
then it
budget,
shouldn't be in the
then it
budget.
shouldn't be in the
I know,
budget.
but I-
So that's what we should do. We should just do, we don't need to be going and finding out and doing anything different. They're asking for a budget, which is a budget of our income and our expenses. And we're providing what our liabilities are for the loan. If that's what they're asking for, then that's what we provide. We don't need to ask any questions. We need to just pull it off this report and submit it as is.
There you go.
So is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments? Okay, roll call directors. Director Garcia is absent. Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Gibson. Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg is an aye, so that passes that motion 4-0-0 with 1 absence.
Oh, I hate to do this to you, but can you back up to financials again? It totally slipped my mind. I have something to tell you guys. It's related to money.
Well, we're still
Okay.
on financials, so we're good.
Well, we're on the budget.
Yeah,
but,
but it's just past.
let's, is everybody okay with us going back to 6 rather than stay on 7?
Of course.
Okay,
Yeah.
no issues?
So unfortunately, during the meter project, we discovered that somebody since at least 2014 has been paying for a 1-inch meter when they've only had 3/4 inch meter. So, the right thing to do is what I asked Tiffany to do. She had to go back and do all the calculations to refund that money. And it's just barely under $4,000 that we have to get back. I checked with Alan too, and he also said that that was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
No, it
I
must
mean,
have.
it wasn't even a question for me. I just wanted to know if there was a legal statute for how far back or whatever, because it usually houses change ownership a lot. But this one was pretty cut and dried when Tiffany researched it, so I'm hoping that they let us just give them a credit on their bill. And since they've owned it all that time, you know, hopefully we just credit the bill and not have to cut a check, but at some point they may ask for that money.
So it went off 4 years ago. Or whatever.
No, it's been charging the 1-inch
2014.
since
Oh, so
20,
it's 2014.
yeah, that's as far back as RBS goes.
That's as far back as we could calculate.
Okay.
And,
So that's how far back we will go, so on Monday, or what on Monday, because Tiffany still has to do some more calculations, but when she's able to, she's just gonna give the credit to the customer and let them know.
Okay, do we want to entertain a motion just to accept that?
I'll move that the customer in question, get a credit on his or her bill
Or get refunded
or get
if they
refunded
requested.
if requested, the amount they're owed.
I second that.
Yeah, any other discussion, comments? Roll call directors. Director Garcia is absent. Director
Aye,
Kelly-
aye, aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg is an aye, so that motion passes 4-0 with one absent.
Gotta do the right thing.
Okay, so, moving on, question D, do we go into closed session? Do you have some, any new information?
Still muted.
Hello?
You're muted.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
good night,
Oh,
Deborah.
thank you, Deborah. I think we're done. Have a good weekend.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, you
Uh-huh.
too. Have a
Bye,
good
Deborah.
evening.
Okay, short discussion. Short discussion.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go into, closed session, so. Hold on a second, okay,
Didn't hear what you said.
he said short, oral announcement prior to closed session, government code 54957.7A. A representative of the legislative body to orally announce the items to be discussed in closed session prior to any closed session meeting. Item 8, closed session pursuant to government code 54957, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, government code 54956.9D1. Fraser Park Public Utility District versus CNC Elite Properties LLC et al. Kern County Superior Court, case number BCB 24 100199. And item 9, closed session pursuant to government code 54957, conference with real property negotiators, government code 54956.8. Property to be discussed, 256-070-54 and parcel 256-070-55. Agency negotiators Lisa Schoenberg, Brahma Nyman, and D. Jasper. Negotiating parties Jeff French and Emily Wainwright. Under negotiation price and terms of payments. So with that, we are going to briefly go into a closed session, everyone. It shouldn't take too long. And we will see you as soon as we come back from that. Oh, I didn't say the time. The time is 4:41.
Gary's out of town.
Joan, I think your microphone's on just in case.
Are you able to hear me?
I am, yeah, they're not on yet, but I could hear you.
All right, so I got to figure out how to turn that off.
Hi, Joan. Can you hear me, Joan?
Everyone, we're on. We are, okay, so we're returning from closed session at 5 p.m. Oral announcement following closed session, Government Code 5. 4957.1A, the legislative body of any local agency shall publicly report any action taken in closed session and the vote or abstention on that action of every member present thereon. There was no action taken in closed session. Okay, moving on to item 10. Discussion vote update on Fraser Park, Lake of the Woods Consolidation Planning Project. 10A, discussion vote review of the project timeline. Has anything changed on that?
Nothing's changed. We'll be starting next week sometime with the survey, the design survey, for the pipeline alignment and, moving that along.
On the pipeline.
Yeah, this is not pipeline. This is the pipeline alignment for the consolidation.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
So we'll be moving ahead and, well, once we get to 100,000, we'll start making some, we'll be keeping you posted as we go through this whole thing. And, once we get halfway there, we're setting our budget at 200. And, so we'll get to 100 and then we'll take a deep breath and meet with the board and just, update everybody as to where we are and what we'll be doing.
Because we're concerned still about that pot of money that has not been moved into consolidation engineering.
Yeah, in the state.
They're dragging their feet, they're dragging their feet, I mean.
So
everybody's
I assured Dee and Carlos, you talked to Carlos, Dee, Carlos assured you as well that we could just move forward?
Yes, I did. Carlos and I talked.
Okay.
And,
Perfect.
so we're
Yeah.
comfortable.
Like I was telling Dee, sorry to cut you off, Dee, but I was telling Dee that we should be able to move forward with the environmental work since that money is not going to get moved anywhere and it's been approved. As far as the design work, I'm sure we can work on design, but none of the state hasn't approved to move any money out of design to cover any of the other areas. So that's something that we have to talk to Ruben about or somebody at the state and see what's going to happen with that.
Which we did bring up in the meeting, but Ruben wasn't up to speed on anything, so. So we just gave him the information, so.
I don't envy him.
No, I
Because
don't
he's
either.
already got all his other projects and now he's gotta try to get up to speed on these complicated jobs. Gotta be
Yeah,
rough.
because we already owe D about somewhere between 20 and 30,000 for consolidation engineering work. And then we with this last invoice, we're going over about $1,000 on the budget for PER, so we have no more money left in that. So that's something that we need to discuss with Ruben as well.
We're setting the budget, well below 260, 270. We're going, we're going to limit it at 2.
We moved into budget when we weren't there. We were on 10A. So are we done with 10A, the timeline, in which case we can move to 10B, which is the budget?
Yes, we're done. We're done with it.
Okay, since we're already there. Sorry about that.
Keeping me in line. So yeah, the budget adjustment issue, Carlos, we're gonna have to take that up and see how we can affect that with Ruben. I sent him I don't know whether this is the place to discuss this or not, but you got a copy of the update that I sent to Ruben as to where our projects are and what we're doing, and that's not part of the budget, but it is something that I want to make sure you're aware of, and that you should have received an email on that. It was, discuss where we are, how we got here.
So the engineering report, you're saying we're over the budget $1,000, $930.
Yes,
More
we're
than-
over budget by $930 for engineering report. and I know Dee said that,
How much more work do we need to do with that?
It's been submitted. So,
Been some-
it was submitted last week and then I noticed that on one table I had used an older number, on the alternate that we are recommending that we do. And so I made a quick, change in that and then reissued the report and, sent it out to everybody, so everybody should have it. So we're probably another 20 into that. And so, we're just gonna have to wait until we get authorization to move some funds down, from engineering, but,
You say in the engineering report, we need another 20,000?
yeah, I
What
think
did you
so.
just say?
We've billed for another 20 and we're done now. So that's where we are.
But
Another 20 for what?
no, what, okay, is this? Carlos, have you received all those bills? Have we submitted all those for payment for claims?
No,
no,
there-
we've only submitted up to claim 41, and then Dee let me know that we're gonna receive some more invoices for claim 42, which is gonna be another 20-some thousand probably.
Yeah, I think that's.
For what?
To finish the PEI.
It's done, he submitted it.
I know, in other words, he's done, but he hadn't submitted the
The
invoice.
invoices.
These are back charges for the work done.
Yeah.
And then in looking at the engineering design budget, we do have 266, 166, but as of right now, counting claim 41, we only have $212,071.34 left.
And we need to take 50,000 out of that. Because you've got, and that's not doing any more consolidation work, that's consolidation, you're telling me we've got 30,000 that we haven't paid him, we haven't claimed. And then we've got another 20,000 for the PER that we haven't claimed, so that's 50 grand. And that we're in the red, we don't have approval on those budgets, and how are we gonna?
We do like we've done every other time, and when the new guy gets up to speed with Lawrence, they're gonna have to move money around.
Well, we've been asking
I know.
for 4 months
I
now.
understand that, and we've been waiting, so it doesn't do any good to stress over right now. We still haven't gotten the answer back. Because Lawrence said his bosses had it, and now the new guy is in here trying to get answers too, and he just now yesterday got caught fully up to speed on all the different projects, so we're gonna
Yeah,
just
so-
show out and just meeting and see if
so
we
in-
can find out something.
In reality, we're only gonna have two choices. We're gonna have the choice of that they're gonna accept the additional funding that Dee requested, or we're gonna have to work with the funding we have now, and that's gonna be, like Brahma said, $50,000 less from the 212,000.
From the design.
Yeah.
Which is what Lawrence said, we'd have to,
And it's actually gonna be more than that because we still have consolidation engineering work that needs to happen that is dealing with. Well,
Yeah, well-
line, what other
Well, if
things.
we don't get any more approval for consolidation engineering budget, other than to pay what's already owed, then we can't move forward with that, but. Or I don't know what's gonna happen.
I think all the well 8 things that we've been doing went into consolidation, Carlos.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, so I mean, that's been another thing that, of course, we've been working on, but we'll work through it and we have a plan, to utilize the funds that we do have and get as far as we can in the process.
Okay, are we ready to move on to 10C? All right, discussion vote update on the standby fee assessment and funding. Where are we at on that, Carlos?
We just got executed work plan, so it is complete. I just submitted a standard agreement that we use with consultants because we are using safer funding. I just submitted that to our admin team, and they'll be sending it out to, what's the name of the company, MBS Consulting. And then once MBS Consulting signs off on that contract, if they agree with everything, then we'll send out an amendment to MBS Consulting, and that amendment's gonna have in detail the work that they're gonna do for the district and how much they're gonna get paid. So I'm looking at, what's today? We should have, if MBS agrees with everything, we should have everything finalized by next week, and they can start work as soon as next week if they want to. And I do have a deadline on the work plan for work to be completed in December 31st of 2024. And I know MBS had stated that work could take anywhere between 4 and 6 months, so we're right in line for them to be done by December.
Okay, any other questions for Carlos?
I just have one, Lisa.
Okay,
Carlos, is NBS who we used for, or do you know whether we use them for Arvin?
I'm not sure, D, but I'm pretty sure it probably is because they serve all of Kirk County. They're out of Temecula, I believe.
Yeah, they did a great job and really set them on really solid financial ground. So yeah, good firm.
okay, any other questions, discussion? Moving on to 10D, discussion vote on the project technical memo,
It's been issued.
which is part of,
And everybody's got a copy. No surprises. The alignments that we've been working with and anticipating are those that we're going to use. Some changes. We're going to cross Cuddy Creek on the bridge, the county bridge, instead of trying to fight EPA and everybody else by putting a pipeline in the creek. And that's about the only change we have. We have to anchor just how we're going to take the water once we get into Lake of the Woods, how we're going to get that up to the north tanks, which I think is the best place to put that.
I believe that's how we did it before I started here, but when they ran the new 10-inch from the yard across Monterey, I think they suspended it on the bridge.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, it'll be a suspension. So that's what I have. All of you have received, I hope. If you haven't, let me know. I sent a link to the reissued preliminary engineering report, Dropbox link. So anytime you want a little bit of nighttime reading to go to sleep on, it's a good thing to do that with. About 170 pages, I think, of it. So anyway, that's where the technical memo is. Done.
Okay, any other questions on 10D? Comments, discussion? Okay, moving on to 10E, hearing none. Discussion vote on the acquisition and development of well number 8, number 9 property. We actually talked about that in our closed session. I don't think there's anything else that we can discuss in open session right now.
No changes.
No changes. Correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so if everybody's okay, I'm gonna move on to 10F, discussion vote on the acquisition and development of well number 9 booster and tank site.
No changes on that one either.
Okay. This item 10G is tabled. It's the sphere of influence that's already sitting at LAFCO. Item 10H is the MSR. Where are we at on discussion vote on the MSR?
I see some back and forth on the budgets with Tiffany. And I think you got that all ironed out, Tiffany, with Ravish. And
Yeah, I sent him the.
so he's the only thing he had from the standpoint of engineering that we had missed was the location of well 4 and Lake of the Woods. And we pointed that out to him, and that map will be revised by him and adding well number 4. So it should be, he was telling me last week that he would have it out within a week or so. And it looks like just this last bit with the budget that you solved with him, Tiffany, should be pretty much the last thing. And then we'll issue it again and make sure we've got all our bases covered.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, 10I is tabled, that's the MOU, we're not ready for that yet. 10J, this is Lake of the Woods, discussion vote on Lake of the Woods projects and consolidation. Pam, do you want to address that? Or Mary?
Yeah, I can handle that. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So the pressure testing's all done. We're waiting on 3 more location lab reports. The state's approved our tie-in procedure. We just need to finalize the schedule of when we're going to go down, and we're going to do a blanket boil notice for 3 weeks probably. It's going to take 2 days per tie-in. And we just need to give Jesse a copy of the actual schedule and how many service lines are going to be affected in each tie-in. And we're anticipating 8 total. One's not going to affect anyone for a boil notice, so that's going to start tomorrow. And the rest will be sometime next week. We're going to have to finalize that schedule. We just had a meeting with Jesse yesterday. And then, of course, we got to do the sample points at every location within the system so that we can, release the boil notice. So we apologize in advance, guys. We'll do the best to educate our community that it's our system that's on the boil notice and not the Fraser Park system. As you guys know, that happens. The generator project, nothing new to report. Hopefully after June, we'll get something once they're done their fiscal year. The $5 million project, no plans yet. And we're still working with the forestry. So there has been some back and forth on that. Well, number 4 is still offline, but like we shared with you guys at the state meeting, our iron and manganese came back as non-detect for both. And so Lawrence, his new position is working on manganese. He's already reached out to us to figure it out because they were so high last year. So we're working with him. The blending station nitrates levels have been 4.1 to 5.6, and the latest labs that we have was from April 2nd, so that was the high one. Our wells are up 4.5 to 26.5 feet, guys, just in 1 month. Well 4 and 6, which are over by the Catholic Church, those went up 24 feet and 26.5 feet. Now the blending station area, well 1, 2, and 7, those are in the lower ranges of 4.5 feet. So it's crazy what's happening over at that part of it. And overall from last year, they're up 32.5 to 38.5 feet. I know at our state meeting, Jesse had some questions, and so I thought I'd share with you guys, since not all of you get to go to that meeting, that our phase 2 project, we are replacing 10,336 linear feet of our system with phase 3, which might turn into 4, 5 to infinity until it's all done. We're hoping to get 19,000 linear feet, which is pretty much the rest of our system, and SCADA and South Tank. And I'll take any questions if you guys have them.
Any questions, comments, discussion?
The only
You're
other
pretty
thing,
good at getting,
sorry?
you're very good at getting grants. Yeah, I'll say that for you.
Oh, thanks. I work really hard on them. But I also have a good team. So Carlos helps and state, and lots of prayers. The other question I had was the preliminary engineer report. I had a few minor corrections. Do I just shine on sending those over? I kept trying to write them on, like make a note on the page, and it kept shutting down. It didn't want to work with it didn't want to speak language or English. It wanted to do binary code on me or something. I don't know.
Yeah, just if you could just, take a copy of the pages that we need to change and just send them down, mark them up and send them down,
Okay. You'll get chicken scratch. That'll be good.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm used to Brahmas. So,
All
no
right.
problem.
Thanks. Thanks, guys. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, anything else? Okay, moving on to 10K, discussion vote on claim 41 and other claims and payouts.
I'll be right back.
All right, that's
Okay,
you,
so-
Carlos.
Board of Directors fees, we have. Let me get that bigger so I can see it. Okay, so Board of Directors fees, we have $433.34. We didn't have any invoices from Young and Woolridge in this one. Staff recovery costs, we have a total of $52. We had a invoice from D Jasper and Associates for preliminary engineering report or for engineering report, invoice 24-00310. And that was in the amount of $20,142.61. But that's gonna have to change because we're over budget by like 900 and something dollars. So I'm gonna have to
So
reduce
you're gonna
that.
Okay,
I'm gonna have to reduce that amount from the invoice somewhere. So I have to find a charge that's close to that and remove it, and then we'll save it, add it onto the list of saved invoices or saved charges. And then we have another invoice
Okay,
from what was that?
Carlos,
Yes,
so this 20,000, so we're all, with this 20,000, we're $930 short, or we're
Yes.
already 930?
no, we're $930 short with this
With
invoice.
this invoice.
Yes.
Okay, so you're gonna reduce it by 930.
Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever the amount is, I think it's 930 something.
Yeah, I think there's a few cents on it. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna reduce this
I'm like-
invoice by that amount. Yes,
I'm a little confused because I thought that the PER was done, or more or less done a long time ago when we got that very large document that's sitting up on our shelf of however many pages that is. What are all these additional charges for? Just curious.
I have to look at the invoice real quick, hang on.
I guess just
He-
because Dean's got the thing here, then he bills.
It's what he sent in the Dropbox.
Right?
Yeah,
He issued a PER, that's the one he said he linked us
That's the one that you're gonna
to.
be viewing.
yeah, I know,
That's
but,
not this.
oh, okay.
It's only 170 pages. This thing right here is like
I think
600.
the last the other document that Lisa is talking about, I mean, it's linked to the PER, but I think that's that technical memo.
No, the
No?
technical memo came out of that. So we have this huge document, then the technical memo came out of it, and now we're redoing the PER. It's like a smaller document. I'm a little confused.
Well, I guess D would have to explain that.
Okay, well, he'll be right back.
Because to my understanding, we were almost done with it. It was just a couple of little tweaks.
Well, you wouldn't have built for it until you got all those tweaks done. And now that you got them done for now and sent it in by the Dropbox, I guess that's when he submitted the invoice.
Yeah,
You'll
because
see
the
what
way
it
these
said.
invoices work too is they're like a month behind.
Yeah, this is March's.
No, this was a lot of work in March from the PER. I'm just wondering. That's me. Okay.
Tiffany's grabbing what,
This,
she printed,
this document is what,
which is totally different from that document.
yeah, which is different here. Need that.
Okay.
Okay, keep going, Carlos.
Okay, and then we had another invoice from D Jasper and Associates, and this is for well design. And this is invoice number 24-00311 in the amount of $651. Total claim comes out to $21,278.95. And we're gonna minus the $930 off of that, so it's gonna be,
9:30:09.
yeah, it's gonna be somewhere around 20,000 something, $20,300 maybe, close to that.
I'll do it. 21,278.95 minus 9:30:09. That comes to 20,348.86. Okay, I make a motion that
One more quick question. So that invoice is not under design work. That invoice is still under PER?
Yeah, the $20,000 invoice is under PER.
No, the 651.
That's under
No, that's
design.
well designed, or well eight.
Right, but is
Okay.
that under design or under something else?
It's under design.
Well designed.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve claim 41. And with the reduction of D Jasper Associates invoice 24-00310 in the amount of $930.09 because it's over budget. Which will bring the total claim to $20,348.86.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, any other questions, discussion on this claim? Okay, roll call directors. Director Garcia is absent. Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schelberg is an aye. That motion passes 4-0-0 with one absent. So with that, we are going to move on to item 11, which is discussion vote update on the FPPD meter replacement projects, emergency well supply project. And we don't have Oscar here. Are you gonna address this as well, Carlos?
Well, I didn't get any information, but I can address whatever I can.
Okay, and we can do the claim. So, okay, so, is there anything new on item 11A, D, the,
No.
ever going well number 7?
No, nothing.
Finish.
We sent him, we talked about it in the, in the state update meeting and, Curtis sent an update, to Raul of, change order 2, and we're still, floundering. We're still waiting for the state to make a decision.
Okay.
I have a question though, since we got it. Cause well 7's on our property, never mind.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions, discussion? That's, stalled. Okay, 11B, discussion vote update on meter replacements. That is, up and going.
It's going great right now. We got, at the last count I seen was 370 roughly meters installed. Today they started route 3. Doing the digging out around the boxes.
They got out around my box.
That's on both sides of,
Mount
Mount
Pinos.
Pinos, from right at where Walt lives at the top of the hill right there down to the market. So they're moving on quickly with that.
And did we address, I saw in the FPPD 1, when I was doing something else, there was somebody who was complaining. Have we been ongoing addressing those complaints that no one's noticing them about stuff going on with their meter
You'd have to
box?
be more specific with.
Well,
if there was-
The emails was stating that there was an outhouse near their property or on their property, and that they were not notified that their meter was gonna be changed.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that, and they're telling them in the field, rough is, you know, this is property of the water company. We don't have to do anything other than make sure we don't shut water off when people are in the shower. When we change it over, it's our property. If we need to upgrade it, we upgrade it. We're not gonna notify people just because they're parking a porta potty on a trailer on a street.
Right, but are we answering at least just a quick answer to the
Well, I
emails?
didn't get that email because I've been so busy, but we've been talking to people in the field continually. So. I mean, some people are just. Like one guy today that I talked to, well, you know, I just would like to know ahead of time you're doing it. I said, well, we did notify you ahead of time. We came and knocked on your door and said, hey, we're gonna be doing the change today. Oh, okay. So, yeah. And it's in the newspaper now too. Came out today.
Good.
And I talked to Gary, so more people will be informed, but for the most part, it's been going well. You know, most customers have been very nice and understanding. Some customers have been thrilled. And some of the older customers kind of surprised me because they're thrilled. I think the smart meters with the electric company and the gas company has made them less worried about smart water meters. Because initially everybody was scared of it. So that's what Ruff is also telling them. And Matt from D Jaspers is, well, you know, you have two meters right on your house that are, you know, radio controlled. Ours is all the way out the street. Shouldn't be a problem. So I had another update on that. I didn't know until yesterday from Neptune that I had to add 2 more cellular lines with unlimited data. Because each one of the sites at Sam Young and Wolf have to have a cellular SIM card so they can transmit. So I went down today, added 2 more to the FirstNet, and that's gonna be $80 a month for those 2 cards. I got them on my desk because they're gonna come out and they've already got the collectors installed. On the 29th and 30th, they're gonna come out and what's the word to keep using? Basically put it online, make sure it's working,
Yeah.
is what they're gonna do. And then, yeah, the gateways, 2 gateways.
Right, but that money is well covered by us not having injured employees
By
from the
far, yeah.
boxes and everything else,
By
so.
far, and time and
And time.
spent and vehicle wear and tear and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Have they gotten all of the shady side done?
With the exception of a couple that are in driveways that Corey went today to see if he has the ability to change them out. But there's a couple that need, like the old apartments up on Encino.
Oh, yeah.
They poured concrete over and around our box and it's just difficult. So they're gonna save the really difficult ones until at the end of the project. Right now, they have a bunch of, you know, laborers and stuff, and then they'll send back a skilled crew that will be replacing concrete when they cut it out and all that stuff. So all but 4 or 5 are done on this whole shady side.
Wow. Awesome.
Plus the commercial buildings, of course, aren't in change. We'll have to do that, you know, as money permits.
Right, because they're not part of the
Yeah, so the museum,
project.
a post office, library, park, all them, you know, will not be smart meters right now.
But those seem to be, all our businesses seem to be, correct as far as metering, like nothing's really, there's doesn't seem to be the same issues we have with residential.
Yeah.
So. Okay, any other questions, discussion?
I have one, Lisa.
11C. Okay,
2 really. One for Johnny. Is the work at Sam Young done now, Johnny?
Yeah, I think Sam Young and Wolf are both done.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The only other thing I had was just a detail, and it's for Pam. And that is, Pam, on your system, are you AMR and capable of being converted to AMI?
We are.
Good, okay. Just wanted to make sure,
Yeah.
because that'll tie everything together. All right.
Yeah, we're
now
one
we had
level.
talked,
We're one level below you guys, so we just drive by. It only takes about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
we
That's what
had
you're
talked
doing.
about all the things so that we'd be compatible when we consolidated, hopefully.
You just have to put in the infrastructure to have it ping to you guys. So that would have to be part of the annexation. Because what Johnny's talking about with those cellular SIM
Gateway?
cards, yeah, the gateway, that would have to be installed and relaying all the way up to Fraser.
Okay.
All right.
And I'd like to mention too, Dee, that, our SCADA guy, Ness, he seemed concerned about the gateways being close to the SCADA radios. And, but Neptune hadn't seemed to think that was a problem. If you ever heard of that, I would imagine they oftentimes put the gateways, at tank sites that have SCADA, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just, we gotta make sure that the frequencies are far enough apart that they don't, interfere. And, I don't think that's gonna be the case here, but if it is, we'll have to rectify that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, anything
Okay,
else?
okay, one little other question. My husband was asking me, are the carts that are driving up and down the street, are they electric or are they gas?
Another gas.
I told him I didn't know. I said I would ask.
Yeah, another gas. They're rented by Bruff from our own company.
Yeah, I told him because he says, "Look," and I said, they're not ours.
The little orange ones, because everybody thinks they're ours because they have cones and all that
Yeah,
stuff in them
but
and
I'm
they're
like,
working.
they're not ours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Moving on to 11C, discussion vote on claim 26 and other claims and payouts. I guess since Oscar's not here, I'll have, since Director Nyman's a part of the.
Claim 26, we had an RVS software invoice 190192 in the amount of $1,250. Then there was, D. Jasper and Associates invoice 24-00314R in the amount of $2,702.55 for meters project correspondence. And then, there was the, board meeting, in the amount of $426. So it brings the total claim to $4,378.55. There are no questions. I'll make a motion that we approve claim 26 in the amount of $4,378.55.
I will second that.
Any other questions, discussion? All right, roll call of directors. Director Garcia is absent. Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg is an aye. That motion passes 4-0-0 with one absent. So we will be submitting we have approved claim 26 submittal. Okay, moving on to the bridge loan, which I believe we have
So-
paid now.
so we-
as of
yeah.
We'll
today.
be paying it.
Yeah, so we've sent out a check for that, so the loan will be back to 500,000, so that'll be available when we need to draw on it for this meter project when we get other invoices.
Okay, anything else on item 11?
Nope.
Moving on to item 12, discussion vote update on pipeline replacement project. 12A has been completed. That's the modeling and mapping. 12B, discussion vote on engineering and design. Has anything changed since our last meeting, Dee?
No changes.
Okay, so we're still at like 95%, but not beyond that.
Right.
Okay, any other questions on that?
We won't actually be further along on that until, the as-bills are done right after the project goes. I mean, that's as far as you go. Until we start digging, right?
Well, no, we've got a little bit left to do. The thing that we need to do is we've got the application for construction funding in, and when that gets funded, then, then that's when we're gonna start putting shovels to the ground. And
Makes
I
sense.
think our next topic will cover a little bit of that as well. on C.
Okay, so 12C, haven't we, I signed it. Does that still need to be on here?
Well, decent, the changes that you wanted just before the meeting.
Right.
They'll just verify that the project title is what you wanted and then I'll.
Carlos,
Okay.
can we verify the project title on 12? Do you have that? Does he have that?
Yeah, it was sent out today. So I'm not-
Yeah, the project title is on the same as the notice of exemption.
Yeah, it was still raw. When I signed it, we were just gonna, there was just 2 changes that needed to be made, which were both
We don't
on.
have it. Could you,
We don't
It's
have.
in the email. I'll look at it and compare it because Lisa was just gonna have me once it says. it.
Yeah, I just
It's
wanted,
having
I just
signature.
wanted an overall, yes, everything matches, because I felt that it still didn't match when I signed it, and Tiffany was gonna double check
I
to
know
make
that-
sure
Yeah,
that that
the-
all matches.
The title
Right,
that
all
should be, the title that should be on the contract, it should say Fraser Park Public Utility District Pipeline Replacement Project.
Got it.
And that's what I put EIR as well,
Nailed it.
that I had to, they all have to match.
And it just said some additional wording in there, I think, or something. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
you highlighted it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, okay, so Tiffany's gonna double check that. Do we, does she have our approval to just make sure everything matches and then we're good?
yes,
Yes.
didn't we
Okay.
already approve, we approved
We
it?
Yeah, I
approved it.
signed it, so I'm
Right,
just saying,
so-
yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so we'll get that over for the project application.
Yeah, so we're just making sure we're crossing our Ts and dotting our Is, and then we're able to send that in, Carlos.
Okay, yeah, so are we, we're still, okay, never mind, we're on the contract still.
Yeah, so now we're up, and so if there's nothing else there, we're on 12D, which is what's left on the project application. We do have the budget now. So we're gonna send, Tiffany is gonna send you the budget, which has been approved now, so,
With that change.
Is
with
there
that.
any final copy or is the one I have in the book the final?
Well,
copy?
we know, we need a final copy because we need to pull off, so Deborah
Pull
needs
off
to
those-
pull off that.
Okay.
That
Deborah will
other
get that
income
for me.
depreciation.
So we're just gonna make that little tweak on it, Carlos, that we talked about today when we approved it, and then that can be sent as well.
So
Uploaded.
hopefully Monday, right?
So you'll have it Monday.
No,
Okay.
because Deborah's not.
Deborah's not here Monday, you'll have it Tuesday
Tuesday or Wednesday, I guess.
or Wednesday.
Okay, that's
You'll
fine.
have it next week.
There's a couple
Is
of,
there anything else? I'm sorry, Dee, excuse me?
if we could go back to C for just a second, Lisa. There's a memorandum on that, you know, on the contract submittal. And I changed the date to today. And I took Lawrence's name off the memorandum and put Ruben on there. So you may want to
Okay.
sign, I sent a complete package. And I think it might be a good idea to sign it again, and I've got to sign it too. And so once Tiffany gets through looking at it and making sure it's okay, then I can,
Okay, I'll wait for Tiffany to contact me and then I'll re-sign.
okay, and I'll sign as well.
Sounds good. Okay, anything else on 12C or D? We
Uh,
have nothing else that we need for the project application, correct, Carlos? Will that wrap everything up?
No, we still have a couple things for the technical, what is it? The TMF, package. We just need a little updating here and there, and we'll have that finalized hopefully by next week as well. I'm gonna submit the technical application tomorrow. So right, and then I'll have to submit the environmental. Well, in looking at the state clearinghouse website, it doesn't seem like they've finalized or approved the NOE yet because there's not a final copy that has the state clearinghouse number on it, and I need to upload that as well. So I might have to wait till we have a final copy of that before I upload the environmental package. So we do
Shouldn't
have,
that be already done? I
well,
thought, I thought
that
that was
has,
a 3-day.
yeah, that has nothing to do with D or anybody. Once it gets submitted to state clearinghouse, then we have to wait on them to do it. So I'm gonna reach out to them and see what's going on as to why because I know it takes 30 days and it's been
Way more
well
than
Been
that.
beyond
way
the
more
30
than
days.
30 days.
Yes,
Yeah.
so I gotta find out what's happening. But so far we have the general package submitted, the financial package is submitted. I do need to upload a few attachments from both packages, but that's fairly simple to do. We'll need the water rights documentation from you guys, that updated, what is it, state number, I can't remember what it's called, but I'll get with Tiffany on that. Those are simple attachments. And then I will upload the technical package tomorrow. And we still need some attachments for that technical package, which is D's contract, the plans and specs, and other stuff. So we're almost done submitting everything.
So we're very close.
Yes.
Good. Okay, anything else on 12D?
I know that the state clearinghouse sent an email saying they're gonna be down for maintenance for like a week in May where they won't be able to do any behind the scenes paperwork. But I was looking for it to try to see when they're gonna be closed.
So we need to get on that right away. And push them.
Yeah, because they've already got all of our
They've
papers.
had it.
They've had it.
Yeah, and in
Who-
worst case scenario, I submit the environmental package as is, and then submit the NOE at a later date once it comes in. So I mean, there's gonna be attachments that I'll need to submit within the next couple months, anyways. Well, hopefully before then, but we'll see what happens with the state clearinghouse.
Okay, but hopefully we're okay with doing all that. So, and did you was that discussed at all at the state update meeting?
Well, no, Carlos wasn't here, so we
Okay.
didn't know this information. Carlos or Oscar wasn't there.
Okay, so next month, hopefully we have everything.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, discussion before we move on to 13? And Carlos, I believe we're done at this point, so have a really wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Carlos.
Thank
You
you
guys
for your
too.
all-
Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Okay, so we're on 13, discussion vote update on Cal OES Community Power Resiliency Allocation of Special Districts Grant. A, purchase of the generators, do we still have, are we paying that at this point? No.
No,
We don't have everything yet, right?
No, I have information on B.
Okay, so A is kind of still being held, and then 13B, discussion about update on final placement and delivery of the load banks.
This is a text message I got from Greg at BTS. He said he needs to schedule load bank installs for 3 units next Thursday and Friday morning if needed. This part is technical, I don't know. He says, I have 2 30 kW load banks here and a third on its way to be here Tuesday. And that's a 20 kW. I don't understand that because generators, maybe that's just what it pulls the power down to. But I thought we were supposed to get 5. So I need to talk to Curtis next week, but it might not be the 5th one was needed because it's such a small generator and the booster it's turning on is only like 7 horsepower, so.
But I think we wanted to make sure that was the case because.
Oh, I know, so whatever was spelled out originally is what we'll make sure happens. And he's supposed to bring leads up here so he could test each site. I told him, the length that it needs to be and everything. Because after I talk to more people, we may have to just decide to have the generators hooked up, permanently trenched underground to help minimize the risk of somebody stealing those super expensive leads. So, he said he had some that he could loan us for the testing.
Test.
So that's the update I got on that. So it's moving along, finally.
Oh, cause I thought you were gonna get the leads and then keep them here in the office.
We were,
Well, we weren't gonna keep them in the office, we were gonna keep them in the yard, but,
Well,
yeah, but then when you started looking at this, the cost of that, it'd probably be better spent to
trenching.
the district do all the trenching like we always do with P&J and laying the conduit and everything that they tell us to get, and then they just come out and bring the wires, and then I'm not spending money that we're not gonna have to use. Like
Right,
the
because we
twist
would have to
connect-
have another container.
Yeah, the twist connectors and everything, why spend money on that if we're gonna just hardwire them in, so.
Okay.
That was my thought, trying to save money.
And a little easier to get things up and running if we needed it, if it's hardwired, rather than have to.
Yeah, it's just, if we wired them like we did the temporary generator, we probably have to have somebody sit there and babysit it for 2 hours while it's running. Pushing water around because you don't want people stealing. And for some reason, people are just fascinated with copper wire.
because you get a lot for it.
Apparently. I think they work harder than they
Oh, they don't care about that.
they don't care about that.
Okay.
So that's the update on generators.
Okay, any other questions, comments on 13? We got rid of 14. 14 will for now be pulled off of the agenda because we are not able to move forward on that right now. Does anyone want to take a recess? We have only another minute of stuff or so.
We're done with the D2.
Yes.
Okay,
You have a
so
pleasant night, Dee.
Thank you, D.
thank you, Dee. And we're
Good,
just gonna
thank you.
finish our new business. So we have 15 we've already done. We're on 16. There is a typo on the agenda on 16. It's supposed to say 418 state update meeting minutes. It does say the correct thing on the minutes themselves. Just for the record. So 16, review and approve meeting minutes for 418 state update meeting.
418.
Yeah,
Yeah.
today is 4:25. The minutes are not done yet.
Oh, yes.
I make a motion that we approve state update standing committee meeting minutes for Thursday, April 18th. With any of the amendments that were sent to Tiffany previous to and after the meeting, as well as any additional amendments for typos or other errors that we may not have caught or names may need to be corrected.
Do I hear a second to that?
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion and second. Any other discussion or anything? Okay, I will roll call directors. Director Garcia is absent. Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg is also an aye. So with that one change to the agenda that we've mentioned, and those minutes are approved. That is 4-0-0 with one absent. Item 17, we are on discussion vote on future agenda items. Are there any future agenda items that we need to discuss now before I entertain a motion to adjourn? Okay, then hearing none, I'll entertain that motion.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay, there's a motion and second on the floor. Anyone want to hang out longer?
No.
Okay, roll call directors. Director Garcia is absent. Director Diamond,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg is an aye. We are going to adjourn this meeting at 5:54 PM. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. Pam
Good night,
and Mary.
guys.
Again, and